Hi, my name is Sandra Carson for Eckhart Yoga. And this short clip will practice some poses as a preparation to Bakasana, the crow pose. So first take a moment and center yourself. Bring your attention to your breath. And then slowly bow your head and open your eyes. And lift up your head. Come to downward facing dog, please. So stretch your body, stretch your arms and stretch your legs and your hips up into the air. Take your heels to the floor one by one. So bend one knee and stretch the other heel down. And to the other side. And do this a couple of times. And then stretch both legs straight. Inhale, come to plank. And lower down. You can take your knees down first too if you want. Inhale, cobra. So make your hands really strong and present here. So squeeze the fingertips into the floor, especially underneath your fingernails and the roots of your fingers. Downward dog. Step your right foot forward for Parshvakonasana. Bring your forearm to your thigh and your left hand to your left hip. Root your feet down. Bring your front knee more over and more in line with your front ankle. And let your hips get a little bit heavier. So sink down a little bit more. And just breathe. Press your back foot strongly into the floor so that you're not hanging in your back leg. Back leg is strong. Inhale, come up. Go to the other side. So for Bakasana, the hips need to be open and the arms need to be strong. So press your back foot into the floor. Bend your front knee. Let the hips come a little bit lower, really stretching the adductor muscles here. Back leg is strong. And breathe. Inhale, come up. Take the feet parallel. Hands to the hips and bow forward. Prasarita Padottanasana. Place your hands on the floor or on blocks. Legs are straight. And now don't go all the way down, but stay here and start to work the insides of the legs by hugging them towards one another, hugging towards the midline. So the inner thighs become very awake, very alert. Big presence there. So start to develop somewhat of a superpower on the inner thighs. Keep breathing. So awareness here and power here on the inner legs will help us to come up into the hand balancing a little bit later on. So keep breathing. Keep the inner legs strong so they get nice and warm. And then step forward, Uttanasana. Bow in. Make your breath smooth and deep and comfortable. Inhale, look up. Now step your feet a little bit wider apart for Malasana. You might want to turn the toes out a little bit and then bend your knees and come to a squat. If you can take your hands in Anjali Mudra, you can do that. If you want them here for balance, you can do that too. Make sure that your heels are supported either by the floor or place a block or a blanket underneath them. And let the hips ground and root down. So breathe into the stretch. Take your breath all the way to your belly. And then straighten the legs, Uttanasana. Maybe the second time you can take your feet a little bit closer together and then come back to Malasana again. So take your hands wherever they best support you, where your pose is best balanced. Let your hips sink down, but now start to work your leg muscles too. So the inner thigh muscles, and again, hug the midline. And if you've got your hands in Anjali Mudra, your inner thighs can squeeze up against your upper arms. So you create a real strong, solid connection there. So the legs become superpower. Soften your breath, your face. So we really want to be strong, but also a little bit soft. Hands to the floor, Uttanasana. And then inhale, look up and come to lying on your back. I'm going to do a couple of ab crunches to create also some power in the core, and that's going to help us come up into the pose. So take your hands in line with your shoulders, palms down onto the floor, and press your hands and your shoulders into the floor. Keep your knees in line with your hips and your shin bones horizontal. If you want to go more intense, then you straighten the legs. And then exhale, bring your knees over to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. 3 times on each side. Keep your shoulders pasted to the floor as you do this. And keep your breath moving. And then after 3 times on each side, come back to the center. Stretch both legs out. Interlace your hands behind your back. Bring your right knee in. And then keep your elbows in line with your ears. Exhale and lift up your sternum, your breastbone. Inhale down. Exhale up. It's 2. We'll do 5, 3, 4, 5. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more. 5. Release that side. Then roll onto your side, come up. And again, come into Uttanasana. The legs strong, straight. You should feel a renewed kind of awareness in the inner upper thighs and in your belly. So squeeze the legs in toward one another and draw your belly in to the body. Then inhale, look forward, bend your knees. And again, you You can take the toes out a little bit and take your heels up. Now for Bakasana, psychologically, it might be nice to have a crash pad. So if you want, you can place a blanket right in front of you on the floor. If you do topple over, the only thing you need to do to make it into a very fun kind of fallout is to tuck your chin, and then you'll roll out into a somersault. So coming into the pose, please place your fingertips down first on the floor, hands shoulder width apart. Then put the roots of your hands into the floor and bring your knees up as high as you can on your upper arms. If your knees are on the elbows or below, then really work on opening the hips a little bit more before you come into this pose. So squeeze them up and use again those leg muscles that we used in the previous poses, the inner upper thighs. So squeeze the knees in as strongly as you can. And soften between the shoulder blades and come forward. So the forearms are vertical. And let your heart come down to the floor. Yeah, you can take one foot off the floor and then the other one. Or do a little dance where you take one off the floor and then the other. Do not jump into the pose, please. You're gonna hurt yourself if you do that. So once you can get both feet off the floor, keep your fingers active. Keep your legs squeezing in, and then start using the core muscles. So pull in your belly, and then lift up the hips. And then if you like, you can go to blank and lower down. Inhale, cobra, and down dog. Okay. Now step to the front of your mat. Soften for a moment. Just let the arms hang and the shoulders hang. And then come up to standing. So I hope these tips have brought you something new to practice with in Bakasana. And I hope you have fun with it. Namaste. Thanks for watching.